Good morning, afternoon, and or evening. My name is Derek, aka Professor Silly, and welcome to my series focused on the history of heavy metal music. I will be listening to a selection of albums in chronological release date order and giving my honest reactions, opinions, and then rating the album. Full disclosure, in my younger years, I was a metalhead. I played in a metal band from the age of 15 until 18, gigging in biker bars with older musicians. I'm very familiar with a number of the albums I'll be revisiting and reviewing. Still, there are a lot of albums on my list that I've heard of but never got around to experiencing. I'm also dubious of only hearing something once. Our experience of music grows as we become more familiar with it. So I'll be listening to the album, giving my initial impression, and then repeatedly throughout the following week, at the gym, during walks. I will then rate the album at the end of said week. Finally, if there's a heavy metal album that is your particular favorite, let me know in the comments. If it's not on my list and I haven't passed the release date in my journey, I'll happily add it. My list has over 100 albums on it so far, but we could always use a few more. This week's album is Black Sabbath's Paranoid. It was recorded in June of 1970 and released in the UK that same year in September 1970. It was released in the following January of 71 in the US, but I'm going by the original release date order. I am very familiar with this album. During the band I played in the early 2000s, this was considered required listening for my continued participation in the band. I had to go out and get it at that time. And yeah, this album's great. I already feel like, without even listening to it, I'm pretty sure this is going to be S tier. But I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to give my commentary throughout, and then I'll listen to it for the week, and then I'll decide once and for all, do I really consider this an S tier perfect album, or will I maybe change my mind? I don't know. We shall see. Also, I'm very happy after the last 2 weeks of having different releases in the US and UK and having different songs and whatnot. This one is the same in both. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about different songs being on the UK release versus the US. It's very, very simple. It's going to make my editing life much less convoluted than I've been experiencing the last couple of weeks. So that's a good thing as well, I would say. Automatically, I love that they are starting this album, just like the last one, with nice, slow tempo, heavy. I think my first experience with this song might have been Faith No More's cover from The Real Thing, and then on the Live at Brixton VHS tape. Pretty sure I heard that before I heard this original. I'm turning it up because you got to turn it up.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like
it's iconic,
at black
right?
masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah.
Love the drumming, of course. Sounds like they're using a diminished second there, which I associate with melody for sure.
Making war just for fun. Treating people just like balls and chess. Wait till the judgment day comes. Yeah.
Yeah. Love what Peter Butler's doing there on bass. Fantastic. Two guitars.
Now in darkness, world stops turning. Ashes where the body's burning. No more war pigs have the power. And as God has struck the hour, day of judgment, God is calling.
Because I heard the Faith No More version first, I still hear all of Mike Patton's weird things in this section. Can't help it.
Begging mercies for the sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings. Oh Lord, yeah.
Wonderful melody on the guitar. Oh man, when I was pulling up the track listing to make sure that there wasn't differences between the original UK and the US, I forgot that this was the first song on the album. I was looking, I was like, I don't see War Pigs. I thought it was toward the end. Maybe that's Faith No More coming through. That Faith No More had at the end of the real thing, and it was like one of the last songs they played in that concert. So I was just thinking like it's a way to end a thing. That it's the first track on this album. Oh, that's nice stuff right there. So yeah, I love that song. I'm not surprised that I still love it. The next track, I'm familiar with all the tracks on here, but Paranoid is certainly got to be one of the most well-known songs from Black Sabbath. This was when I first started learning to play bass. Paranoid and Iron Man were two of the songs that we tried to learn and play together first. Not because we were into Black Sabbath, but just because we need something that we could learn at a very rudimentary level. And so they were two of the songs that I first learned on bass. So yeah, Paranoid. Yes. Oh, the bass tone is so good. Got the chunking that is going to be so foundational for speed metal later on. Yeah. Oh, that guitar tone. Got us crazy effect way over here. The cleaner guitar here, but then that gnarly fuzzed out tone in the background. This may sound crazy, but I'm not sure I've ever listened to this album on headphones before. That sounds so much better on headphones. Some of the subtleties of the mix, like I've never noticed. I probably only ever listened to this like in my car, driving around. So yeah, having it on headphones, it's even better than I remember. Wow. All right, Planet Caravan. This was a song that obviously I wasn't as familiar with before I got it. I believe Pantera covered this at one point. I never really got into Pantera. I will be visiting Pantera later on in this journey and giving them a much more thorough listen than I've ever given them before. But otherwise, like wasn't a song I was super familiar with before. Again, my frontman made me go buy this album, along with a handful of others. So yeah, let's check out Planet Caravan. Bass. Not sure what kind of drums those are. They sound like they might be like the like rototoms, I think they're called, like the really like the smaller ones that are like longer. Almost sounds similar to something we would hear like in a Tool song, only like not so polyrhythmically insane, you know. Those little background sounds are pretty cool for it being only 1970. Not even sure what that is. Just guitar with like a huge like slapback echo or something. I don't know. You tell me if you know what that is. Let me know. In the early 90s, there was a zeitgeisty effort to revisit the early 70s, and this song has some of the same like driving at night in the desert feel that I get from a lot of early 90s stuff. I think the Doors had a bit of that as well. But again, the 90s, they were trying to like recapture that, I feel. Love that piano back there. If you would have asked me like trivia, what track does piano appear on Black Sabbath album, I would not have said, I would have had no idea. I'd be like, piano? I feel like it's a trick question. There's no piano, but no, there's piano there. Like how the piano's not fading out as quickly as everything else. maybe it's again that I've failed to ever listen to it on headphones, but on headphones that song is again so much better than I even remember. Driving in the car, it's like, okay, yeah, this is cool, but like on headphones, good God, fantastic. I like that song so much more than I remembered. Anyway, I'm noting a pattern. Iron Man. Again, this is one that my guitar player and I, when we were first learning our instruments, were like, let's learn Iron Man. And we did, and it was quick, and it was easy. I remember watching Headbangers Ball, and I would see like the video promotions for Paranoid and Iron Man show up, and it was like, wow, they look old. That looks old. It really it put me off listening to more Black Sabbath, just how ancient the footage looked compared to all of the glossy, glammy, full color stuff of the late 80s, early 90s, late 80s more so. But of course, I think everybody knows this song. Like it's hard to imagine. Maybe it's just being older, but it's hard to imagine somebody having never heard this song, especially with how it's appeared in modern media. But yeah, Iron Man. 3, 2, 1, click. Ooh. The drums, the stereo mix. It's all like coming to center from the right. One might almost say it's just like it's lumbering musically. Simple fill, but effective. I love what Geezer is doing there with the bass. So effective how the bass and guitar split and then they come together. they're bringing back the. It's coming in here to the middle. Yeah, and the guitar splitting into 2 tracks. Double track guitar. Yeah. Oof. So good. Clearly, I've never listened to this on headphones because it just sounds so much better. So that was side 1. If we were at LP, we'd now flip the album. And the second side starts off with Electric Funeral, which is a great name. I mean, all these, like first 2 songs, Electric Funeral and Hand of Doom. They're such good song titles. So yeah, Electric Funeral. Clearly I've heard this before, but like I don't think I could hum it right now. So it's a recognition rather than like a recall form of memory on this one. Oh yeah, okay.
Reflects in the sky, warn you you're gonna die. Storm coming, you better hide from the atomic tide. Flashes in the sky, turns houses into sty, turns people into clay. Radiation minds decay.
I'm not sure I've ever picked up what the lyrics were, but on headphones, like the lyrics coming through a lot stronger. And oh yeah, no doubt what he's singing about here.
Robot minds of robot slaves, lead them to atomic rays. Plastic flowers, melting sun, fading moon falls apart. Dying world of radiation, victims of man frustration. Burning globe of obscene fire, like electric funeral fire.
I don't know if anybody could make wah sound that evil. It's impressive.
Buildings crashing down towards cracking ground, rivers turn to wood, ice melt into blood. Earth rising dead, burn clouds drive for the dead. Terrifying rain is a burning pain.
Love that double vocal. think a fade out could be metal, but that's a pretty good use of fade out right there. All right, so immediately upon the first few notes of it, it's like, okay, yeah, I definitely am familiar with this track. Such a heavy groove. The tones are great. I don't like the bass tone on there quite as much as some of the other spots in the album, but it fits the song really, really well. All right. All right, Hand of Doom, which is, I don't think it has to be like the most, other than Black Sabbath itself, it has to be the most metal sounding song title. Right. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Syncopation.
What you gonna do? Time's caught up with you. Now you wait your turn. You know there's no return. Take your empty roads. You join the other fools. Turn to something new. Now it's killing you. First it was the bomb. Vietnam, Nepal.
War's a huge theme throughout this album, isn't it?
You push the needle in. From life you escape. Reality's like rape. Colors in your mind. Satisfying time.
Almost sounds like a different song entirely.
Oh, you know you must be blind to do such things like this. To take the sweet that you don't know. You're giving
15 years, 14 years or so before Master of Puppets. Respect that Geezer Butler doesn't just completely sit back on the guitar solos, but doesn't try to overshadow Total Enemy either. He's making it just interesting enough. And then back to the beginning.
Your skin starts turning green. Your eyes no longer see life's reality. Push the knee in. Face that sickly grin. Holes are in your skin, caused by deadly pain. Head starts spinning round. You fall down to the ground. Feel your body heave. Death hand starts to weave. It's too late to turn. You wouldn't learn. Price of life you hide. Now you're gonna die.
I think these songs blend together a little bit. I try to be quick at pausing it. Cool. Yeah, when I watched a live concert, 1970s concert, when I was living with the first album, that week of listening to that first album, I wanted to check out a live. I'm generally going to do that. I'm going to try to find a live performance from the group that lines up with the album to see how the songs translate from studio album to live. Give me more perspective on the album. This was definitely one of the songs they played at that concert, and it stood out to me in the concert as well. Like, oh yeah, I couldn't remember the name of the song when I was hearing it, but I was like, yeah, I definitely know that song, and it sounds really good live. It kind of jumps between styles. Like I said, it almost sounded like it was a different track in the middle of it before it came back around again. It works really, really well. And I can imagine, like, a band like Black Sabbath, I'm sure they were hard drinking, and I'm sure they were toking, as was appropriate for the time. But it's interesting that those are the two substances probably most associated with metal, weed and alcohol. Heroin, which I'm assuming that's what this song is about. I mean, it's talking about needles. You can shoot any kind of drug, really, but typically that would be like a heroin reference. I can only think of like a handful of examples of metal musicians that fell into that trap. Interesting thing to keep an eye out as we go through and explore different groups over the years and whatnot. Now, certainly when we get to Motorhead, amphetamine use is going to come up, and there's certainly other metal bands I can think of that were famously into that sort of thing. Famously, oh good God! But that's for another time period. So yeah, we only got 2 tracks left. This next one is short, Rat Salad, and it is an instrumental. So basically a power trio, unless we're gonna get more harmonica. I don't remember. Is there harmonica on this track? I don't remember. All right, Rat Salad. It just occurred to me that this is the same year that Frank Zappa's Hot Rats came out, which has an album cover weirdly reminiscent of the first Black Sabbath album cover. Take a look at those two side by side. In fact, I may even, in editing, I may even bring up the 2 pictures. But I don't know, Rat Salad just made me think of that. 3, 2, 1, click. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Ooh, nice groove. Is this Black Sabbath's answer to Moby Dick? I feel like it might be. It might be. All right. Short and sweet. And that brings us to the final track of this stellar album, Fairies Wear Boots. Kind of had an out of sync there at the beginning. I don't know if it was 2 tracks or if it was just the same track, just split. Iconic guitar tone and melodic phrasing. Anticipated it. Juicy bass tone. to look up the lyrics on this. I've never looked at them before. I'm curious. Guitar string band is so good. Agreed, Ozzy. Agreed. Almost some proto disco on the bass there, only slow with the octave jumping. Oh, I am so looking forward to the rest of this week, listening to this in the gym, starting tomorrow. Fuck yeah, I can't wait. It had to be like an act of Beelzebub himself to have me not rank this as an S tier album, but I'll withhold that until next week when after listening to it for a full week, see if I get tired of any parts of it. I don't imagine that's gonna be the case, but hey, who knows? So yeah, that said, this is the first two Black Sabbath albums are really the only two that I'm actually familiar with. And I've got two more in the coming weeks to check out. I've heard of what is it, Master of Reality and then Volume 4. I've heard of the albums. I've seen them listed, but I don't know if I've never listened to them. It's not even I don't know if. I definitely have not listened to those albums. So those will be brand new experiences for me. These first two are just ones that I am very, very familiar with. So let's cut to next week. All right, what is there to say about this? It's been ranked as the most important heavy metal album of all time. I already knew this album really well. I thoroughly enjoyed listening through it this last week. It's S tier. There's no debate or drama or anything to just immediately put it up here. If anything, it's such a perfect album that by comparison, like I could almost see bringing the first Black Sabbath album down to like A+ or S-. But I'm going to leave it where it's at. They're both amazing albums. The fact that Paranoid is so good doesn't diminish how good the first one is, really. I mean, we could get nitpicky. If there was 500 categories, then they wouldn't be in the same category. But there's 5. And I feel justified keeping the first Black Sabbath album in S tier, not moving it down to A. So, 2 Black Sabbath albums down, both utterly perfect, amazing, so good. Again, I don't want to have 4 Black Sabbath albums in a row. And you can see I've got Master of Reality and Volume 4 coming up. And that's why I'm including these other albums that maybe aren't metal. Some have made the argument that they're metal. But so far, the other 2, I wouldn't call them metal. Other people have. I'm rating them accordingly. So next week, we got Deep Purple. This is not a Deep Purple album that I'm familiar with. Obviously, I'm super familiar with Machine Head. I love Machine Head, which is the album that comes after the one I'm going to do next week. And I've heard Hush, but I don't think I've heard anything off of this album. So I'm really curious to see what they were like in 1971. We have now completed 1970. So we have 1 album from 69, 3 albums from 1970, and starting next week, we're moving into 1971. I hope you have enjoyed my journey along with me so far. We're going to continue. If you have an album that you want me to check out and we haven't passed the release date order in our journey, I will happily add it to my list. Like and subscribe if you'd like. I'm going to put these videos out every single week. I've got over 100 albums on my list. So we're looking at 2 years. We're going to have a 2-year journey here to get up to the present day. I am so looking forward to getting further into the 70s and hearing more albums that I've never heard before. For example, Judas Priest. I've never listened to a Judas Priest album all the way through. We've got Judas Priest coming up in the 1970s, along with Montrose and I think Budgie, and there's other groups that I've heard of but never listened to as far as I know. So you have a great rest of your whatever, and I will see you next time. Ta-ta.